All right, so welcome back to the program. It's still the Abia Project, a special edition of the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion, where we are holding to mark this year's Democracy Day and the way forward for Abia's development and the state. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Now, my guest is already waiting, and he is a professor of criminology, security and counter-terrorist expert. He is the Director General, Criminology, Institute of Nigerian Center for Criminal Justice Reform and Citizen Awareness. I'm talking about Professor Obianaso. Thank you so much, Professor, for joining us on this program this morning.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Okay, now let's talk about security in the state. I'm sure you've been following events, especially in Abia State, where it has to do with security, and you know that Abia State has its own security challenges here and there, and the security in Abia State. Can you give us an assessment of what you think is the major cause of the security issues we are having in the state?
For a start, let us look at what has given rise to the general insecurity in Nigeria at the present. First, it is important to distinguish people generally and incidents and acts of terrorism. This situation we have now in Nigeria is largely incidents and acts of terrorism. Okay. And what led to this terrible situation? Of course, just that we've not had it like this before in Nigeria. Is that the federal government suddenly came up with an immigration policy. And that policy is that they said as long as anyone is Fulani, that they can come into Nigeria, no visa, no questions asked, just come in. So, what they did not realize or into consideration is the fact that the world has changed. And terrorism has spread across sub-Saharan Africa, just like it has in many other parts of the world. To do that policy, so many terrorists, hardened criminals, came from countries like Libya, Senegal, Chad, Afghanistan, Syria, many fighters that were, terrorists and fighters that were displaced in so many of those jurisdictions, they trooped into Nigeria. Now, let me make one thing clear.
Okay.
Those who wrote about our policy tell that they are bringing Fulani. But unfortunately, what that may happen to Fulani that came in large percentage, the large number of those that came in, we are purely criminals, terrorists.
Now, Prof, before you go ahead, will it be right to say that, it's only Fulanis that are the criminals we have in the state or in Nigeria?
No, I have given you this scenario at the federal level that will lead to the upsurge of terrorist incidents, such as kidnapping, all those things, killing. And I've finished giving you that incident, and what the point is that most of those things are not Fulani suspects. And a lot of our criminals. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
And that the CCC have Islamic sentiment or Fulani sentiment that just criminals, terrorists who want to carry on with their spread of terrorism, killing, kidnapping, and so on and so forth. It was that policy that led to so many of them spreading into the state. And Abia, of course, is not an exception.
Okay.
Now, Abia State, unfortunately, in the past several years, they have not had Abia State has not had a cohesive security policy. The security architecture in Abia State is very vulnerable and defective because successive administrations since 1999 have not really invested in security. They see security votes as a means of economic enrichment. They do not use the security votes properly to either train security personnel or develop security infrastructures that will help the people. And today, Abia State is more or less working at the University of Criminals. Whether you go to Accra, you go to in many parts of Abia State, you see that the level of security is very high.
Okay.
So what I would say is the one reason for the terrible state of security in Abia State is that there has been political neglect of security in Abia State, and there has to be, a new direction. There will be a change. Because you cannot really invite foreign investors to come and invest in an environment where citizens and ordinary people are not safe.
Exactly, Prof, because I was going to ask you to give us a kind of idea of the impact of this insecurity on investment in Abia State.
It has been terrible. You go and look at Abia State, where they manufacture, where they make shoes, and all kinds of things. This is a terrible downfall. This is something that is not very. Nobody wants to go out there and tell us, right? Just make the money we say is coming and already stuff. I just said to them, we shop. And they get it now. To say, leaders or whatever, to the police or the youth. So it has been a disaster. And unfortunately, the government today, like the previous ones, have not paid serious attention to that.
If you say the government has not really paid attention to that, so what do you think they should do? Don't forget that we have Abia State Vigilante Service. They are there. We also have Abia State Homeland Security. They are also there. Are these not enough commitment from the government to tackle the issue of insecurity in the state?
No, creating those agencies or having them one thing, but keeping them properly, putting them properly, providing them training and retraining, and the other instruments of trade, security trade, let me tell you what's going on. That should be happening. When you are sick and you need suffering, you don't start thinking about your cousin, your brother, your sister, your friend. You are thinking about the best doctor and what can you say you can be where. That has been the instance of military appointment in two of the even a certain army, like something in Nigeria. For political purposes and advertisement, you don't do that. I think that if you look outside Nigeria, in countries like Canada, United States, Europe, and all that, they don't joke with security. What are you out there? They look for the best man for the job. So many people who are security advisors in Abia State, just like that in other things, they are crossing incompetent. Even at the national level, we have a national security advisor. What the hell is we advancing on? This terrorism is spreading like wildfire every day. Similarly, in Abia State, I can tell you that the best team, best team of the level has got a put to work. If you use special offices, appointed into security for political patronage, you look at people who can get the job done. Just like you need surgery, you look at the surgeon to carry out the surgery so that the patients can be well and soon enough. So that has been the problem. Then the corruption is that the government is doing terrible. Even the governor or whoever else is engaging in corruption with the city votes, they are also having themselves. But this security has no exception. Let me say something now. Let me tell you what's going to happen very soon. It will not be too long in Nigeria where you hear that a governor is kidnapped. But getting close, unless something drastic happens.
So what can be done to improve on the situation, Prof?
Right now, there is need to seriously look for people who understand the ABCD of security. 1, 2, those who understand the difference between general insecurity and what the terrorism challenges are. Okay? Those who understand.
Hello?
Administration. In the security sector over the years. That's the point I'm making. And if the government wants to really help Abia people now, they need to go out in search of people who have proven competent and the professional know-how and background to give advice on what things to do. But beyond that, for those who are trying to become governor of Abia State, people should look forward to those who possess the capacity to bring about institutional reform to the security sector. Because I tell you this right now.
All right.
Security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. That is a constitutional provision. Section 42B. Okay? So, and you know it today that insecurity is very supreme. And the welfare of the people and their security, once you have not been able to guarantee these, accomplish those, the government is a failure.
Okay, Prof.
So, outside of the entering something that needs to be done now, one should be looking for those who are going to come in, because what's going to go to move that don't have capacity or understanding about what needs to be done.
Okay, Prof, let me sincerely thank you so much. I just have to stop you here so that we can also invite another guest who is supposed to be on this program. The Professor of Criminology, Security and Counter-Terrorist Expert, and the Director General, Criminology, Institute of Nigeria Center for Criminal Justice Reform and Citizen Awareness, Professor Chukwudi David Obianaso. So thank you so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, that's the situation. We've talked about education. We've talked about human capital development, which is okay. That's what we'll be talking about with Professor Sonny Iroche, who is also standing by. We talk about security now and the way forward in Abia State. Well, it's still the Abia Project, a special edition of the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. We are doing this in commemoration of Democracy Day, which was celebrated yesterday all over the country. Now, I also have joining me Professor, Mr. Sonny Iroche. He is the chairman of Abia League of Professionals. Thank you so much, Mr. Iroche, for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay.
And happy Democracy Day.
Yeah, happy Democracy Day to you too. Now, let's talk about human capital development in Abia State. Are you comfortable with the level of wealth being created by the state government so far since 1999?
Let us start first by understanding to the listeners, our audience, what human capital really means as defined by the World Bank and the United Nations. The Human Capital Index is a summary of the amount of human capital that a child born today can expect to acquire by the age of 18, from birth, from cradle to 18. And there are so many components of this survival, which includes survival, school, health, provision. And now you ask yourself, has Abia State government provided such, or have they created an enabling environment in Abia State where private schools, health facilities, and the employment of these Abians can thrive and be productive? The answer is clearly no, because when you look at the state-owned secondary and tertiary institutions, they are not well funded. They are not well. The teachers don't get paid. So the state government, you are right to have mentioned, since 1999 has had very poor leadership at all tiers of government, from the government house to the House of Assembly to even the judiciary. So everyone is just doing what they like to do without being accountable to the Abia people who either voted for them or were disenfranchised for the wrong people to get into office. That has been the bane of Abia State.
Now, to the issue of wealth creation, let's take Aba for instance. When you go to Aba, there are so many small, medium enterprises there. Do you think the government is doing enough to harness the potential, the SME potentials in Aba, to probably create jobs for young Nigerians in Abia State?
The question you should ask is how many companies have left Aba? We used to have the IEA that manufactured Palmolive, and a lot of companies that have left and shut down and left Aba because of insecurity, because of lack of infrastructure. The Abia State government has not done enough, hasn't done anything to create an enabling environment for small and medium scale industries, which are the backbone of every economic development in any nation to thrive. Aba is dilapidated, the roads are not there. If you recall, when I was on TV to debunk the false claim of the governor of Abia State, that he's done all the roads in Aba and stuff like that, and the government comes out on TV and starts to lie. So you can't deal with people who are not ready to speak the truth to the people. So Aba is a shadow of what it used to be. Aba really should be competing with cities like Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja in terms of the enabling environment. What does government need to provide? Security of lives and property, infrastructure, and taxes that would lure people into coming there to create an industrial hub for Eastern region, if not for Nigeria. Recall that in those days, in those good old days, that foreigners used to come from neighboring African countries to come and purchase goods and services from Aba. But all those people, all that has dried up. Yes, you can talk about some leather and shoe factories. These are purely by a human endeavor, private sector driven. Government doesn't do anything to support and to assist them. The role of government is to make sure that there is constant power supply, to make sure that there is water, to make sure there are roads, accessible roads, so that people can come in there and transact their businesses.
So is that all the government could do to ensure that it creates jobs for the people in Abia State?
Well, you should ask government. They have their job cut out for them. They have their KYC, their key performance indicator that is expected of government. Government, first and foremost in business, should create an enabling environment. Government in itself has no business in government, because government is a poor manager of resources. So they cannot even manage government and not talk of businesses. All government is expected to do is, one, let there be proper infrastructure, access to markets. Two, give tax breaks and incentives where necessary. Those are the responsibilities of a credible and purposeful government.
Okay, let me sincerely thank you, Mr. Sonny Iruche, the chairman of Abia League of Professionals. Thank you so much for joining us on the program this morning.
One correction, please. I am the founder and director general of Abia League of Professionals, while General Ike Nwachukwu is the chairman of the board of trustees of the group.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the correction. Thank you so much.